Morjentes ja tervetuloa Tyrnävä Showhun. Kun Zelenskyin huulet liikkuvat, hän valehtelee. Katsotaanpa tästä lyhyt klippendaali, ottaa semmoinen 5 minuuttia. Tässä on myös eversti Douglas Macgregor puhumassa, analysoimassa tätä juttua.
We are not losing this war, and Putin is not winning. And really, his army now in the weak position. I think so, because they really, from the beginning of this war, they could occupy 1% of our land, but they spend 1,300,000 people. And I think this is high price, yes, for such land, and I don't understand why the leader of the country, which has the biggest territory in the world, they need some more kilometers. That's why I think that this war is not about the land and not about territories for him. It's about our sovereignty and about our independence.
Now, we can quibble about what the Russians' interests are, but your point is very valid there. There are interests in Russia between those two, which are not mirrored on our side. And yet, that kind of comment that was on American television, of course, gets beamed right into the White House. And there's so many in the West, at least in the elite part of the West, that want to keep that bond connected. What can be done about that?
If Zelenskyy's mouth is moving, lies are being told. Nothing the man said was true. Not a word. Just as Americans are demanding the Epstein file be released, they ought to demand the release of the Zelensky file, because we've got one. Unfortunately, our intelligence agents are apparently all in favor of continuing this perpetual war of hostility towards Russia. I don't see any evidence that Mr. Radcliffe is going to release the truth, but he ought to release the Zelensky file. And Zelensky is very comfortable in company with somebody like Epstein. This is a very, very corrupt, criminally corrupt state. The Ukrainian people are sick of it. They're tired. They're worn out. They don't want to live under him and in this state of perpetual uncertainty and fear. This is the ultimate Stalinist secret policeman who is jailing people in churches, jailing people that are opposed to his policies, and continues to force old men and boys in the uniform to be slaughtered at the front. The Russians have not sustained those losses. We know that. That's nonsense. 130,000 dead is a large number by any stretch of the imagination on the Russian side, but it pales before 1.7 to 1.8 million dead Ukrainian soldiers. And we don't even know what the tally of wounded is, but it's horrific, because they can't provide the medical care. They can't evacuate people from the battlefield. It's all nonsense. We also know that Mr. Putin and his colleagues are absolutely disinterested under any and all circumstances in governing Western Ukraine. They don't want to govern those people. The standard joke in Moscow is, well, let the Poles come back in and take charge of Western Ukraine, which they controlled for hundreds of years. And the Poles came to grief over it. Ukrainians hated them with a passion. So in other words, there's no solution to this that remotely resembles anything that Mr. Zelensky mentions. But he's got the support of the media. He's got the support of the financial interests, all the same people who want to go to war and destroy Iran, and who are now beating the war drums for Venezuela and potentially Colombia. Who knows? It's outrageous, but that's where we are. The American people don't really get it, because they're not being given the truth about anything. That's why I say, let's release the Zelensky file.
We're going to get to some of the truth there on that, but one other category and one other constituency to add to the list that you just mentioned about.
Joo, se oli kiinnostavaa. Eli Daniel Davisin Deep Dive-kanavalla eversti Douglas Macgregor analysoi Zelenskyin puheita. Kun Zelenskyin huulet liikkuvat, hän valehtelee. Ja tämä menee sitten ikävä kyllä Suomessa läpi ihan kypällä näihin meidän poliitikkoihin. Että se on harmillista nähdä. Mutta otetaan sitten, kun meidän nykyiset poliitikot on niin osaavaa porukkaa, niin me nähdään tästä nyt sitten tämä kotimaan uutiset. Eli 179 miljardia ja 928 miljoonaa. Me ollaan nyt jo keskiviikossa, niin sehän saattaa olla, että viikonloppuna posahtaa ja toi uusi ylösnousemus, eli 180 miljardia rikkiä. Tämähän kuulostaa kiinnostavalta. Eikö ole hienoa, Suomen päättäjät, kun uskomme valheisiin, niin tämmöinen meitä odottaa. No niin, morjentes täältä Tyrnävä Shown Datsata, tämmöinen lyhyt lähetys tähän.